Hi, I'm Lexi Hauge, and I'm going to be going over the expansion of Sukup manufacturing in the UAE. Sukup manufacturing is based in Iowa, and I was an intern there. It's a leader in grain storage and handling equipment. And this proposal came after I traveled to the UAE after being an intern at Sukup Manufacturing and realizing that Sukup Manufacturing was in a lot of countries, but it wasn't in the Middle East yet. And when I was visiting the UAE, I did not see a lot of agriculture infrastructure. So I was really curious if there was feasibility to have grain storage systems or other drying technologies in the UAE, and if there'd be demand, and again, what the feasibility would look like. And I did find that there is demand and there would be feasibility. There are some things to work out and some innovation that would be needed to be done in order to move into the United Arab Emirates, but the goal would be to meet regional demand for modern agriculture infrastructure, and it'd be to enter through partnerships and gradual market expansions as the strategic plan. The UAE is located in the Middle East. It's a strategic global trade hub. It has a strong economy that's driven by most popularly known oil, trade, and infrastructure investments. Its highly developed logistics system and transportation systems makes it so appealing. The government supports foreign business investments. The population is 10 million, and it's a high urbanization rate. Wealthy consumer base is strong there in the UAE. And there's limited agriculture production, so that means there's a reliance on imported food and grain. So for the business and holiday schedule, it is a Muslim country, so they do go by the Muslim holiday schedule. Key holidays would be Ramadan, which is a time period, and that the business would slow during those religious periods. Also, Friday is a day of prayer for many Muslims, and so the work week is Monday through Friday, but Friday can range from company to company. Some people do not, some companies don't have work on Fridays, and some Emirates only they vary. So the rules may vary. Some Emirates may be stricter than others on what the work week looks like. So for trade partners, major import partners would be China, India, the US, Germany. There'd be heavy reliance on imported machinery and food products. So there's a strong demand for agriculture technology and storage systems, as we've been able to see, and it is an open trade environment with free trade zones, which we'll go into more in depth in future slides. So the currency strength, they use dirham, which is pegged to the US dollar, so there's a stable exchange rate, which would make doing business in this area a lot easier. And then there's low currency volatility, which reduces financial risk. Their currency system would support predictable international business planning. So for codes and tariffs, their grain system equipment would fall under industrial agricultural machinery categories, and generally low import tariffs in the UAE. Specifically, there are some free zones which offer 0% import duties. There's minimal trade barriers, which would make it a really desirable place for Sukup manufacturing to go, especially for industrial equipment. So for investment regulations, foreign direct investments are allowed in many sectors. As mentioned previously, some industries do require local partnerships, which will go more in depth about this and how strategically we would move into this area. And the business licensings are required for operations. Government encourages agricultural innovation, which is really essential and key when moving into a new area, is that the government is in support of something like this and investments in this sector. So for market entry strategy, when doing my research, I mimicked what Sukup did with Sukup Europe. So they have a sister company called Sukup Europe, which was a company that was doing something similar in some of the countries in Europe, and Sukup acquired them, and it's now Sukup Europe. And there's also Sukup Latin America. So they would first partner with a local distributor or agri-tech company, and then they would adapt equipment for desert climate conditions, which for Sukup we'll talk a little bit more about climate in some previous slides, but this wouldn't be a challenge with some of their innovations that they have already, and it wouldn't be something new. They've done this before. And again, we'll go into that in previous slides. And then expanding into the region hub, and then pilot installations before a full-scale rollout. This would ensure, again, that it would go smoothly. We could do it in small batches to see the success and to see what it's doing in the UAE economy and if it's thriving or not, in order to do a full-scale merger or acquisition. Additional considerations, again, we mentioned climate challenges. Heat, humidity, and dust in the Middle East is something that has deterred a lot of agriculture, but some of the newer technologies, Sukup is in Africa, it's in California, and they have different drying commodities that use this products. For example, in California, one of the things that's really huge there that uses Sukup equipment is pistachios. So it's really adaptable to whatever the area or region is growing. So I think this would be really essential, and storage is also essential, especially for those varying climates. For cultural and business relationship, that'd be really important. It'd be important to be on the same wavelength. They speak English in the UAE. It's the language of business over there, so that would be something. There wouldn't be a language barrier. And then there would be a logistics advantage. UAE is a global shipping hub, so it's important to know when Sukup would be looking at the UAE to move forward. So as a recommendation and conclusion, the UAE is a strong strategic entry point for Sukup manufacturing. There are low trade barriers and there's strong demand. That's something we see a lot of major companies that are in areas like Dubai. So they're very welcoming to big investments, and specifically agriculture. That's one thing that's been a little bit slower. They've been able to advance in technology and other things, but food is essential in the supply chain, and this would be a really good area of technological growth for their government and just for their area. The recommended approach, as I mentioned earlier, would be a gradual entry through partnerships. Again, this would ensure that the locals would really be at the forefront of this entry, but at the same time, the same Sukup quality would be able to be in their market. And then the UAE could serve as a gateway to a broader Middle East market. As I mentioned previously, Sukup is in a lot of countries, Africa, Latin America, lots of parts of Europe. So this would be really something to look into, as it's kind of a missed spot on the map for Sukup. So there's a big opportunity for this. Thank you so much.